Well, happy cold day to you. Holy cow. Temperature dropped a lot over the last few days. It's in the 40s, and I've got to run out to the Quantico dealership to have my annual Virginia inspection done on the bike. It's I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cool. It's a little chilly, especially compared to what it was last weekend, but nonetheless, we're doing it because these are the things that we do when we ride a bike. I guess I could actually turn up the heated grips. That might help. Got to get used to the winter. So yeah, so I'm heading out to the dealership, and I thought while I'm going out here I would do a quick video to let you know that I think I am tired of dicking around. I'm actually thinking about putting a tour pack on my 2021 Road Glide Special. So getting a tool pack is not something that I wanted to do on this bike. I really didn't. I, tried a couple of different solutions for storage when touring, and I guess that's my first kind of need here. I used my dry spec bags that I had on my Fat Bob, but that usually entailed, if I was going on a week or longer trip, of having to have 2 dry spec bags and then everything in my saddlebags and stuff, and it got tedious, going to the hotel, getting to the hotel, unpacking everything, unstrapping everything. If I gotta go to dinner, taking all the straps off, getting up the next morning, lashing everything back up. It's just tedious work, right? Takes time. So after giving it a lot of thought, after several trips and all the great stuff that I was hearing about the RickRak system, before I went to Montreal, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to bite the bullet. Screw it. I'm going to try that. So I did. And I'm moving away from that. It's funny because I've actually filmed four different reviews on that RickRak. I did the initial review before I left for Montreal. I had a problem with the bag, so I reshot the review when I got back, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna just edit that on my next trip because I was leaving in a few days to go out to Missouri. So then I had the big failure in Missouri, and I reshot it again, and then I shot another overall thing, and I just never got around to editing the stuff, and I think part of that was because I was just so damn pissed off. But yeah, so let me stop here, and I'm gonna insert a video to talk about the problems with the RickRak. We won't do a whole big review of the RickRak, but just specifically the problems I had with it and the 2 failures, or 1 semi-failure and then the total failure, almost total failure on the second trip. Then we'll come back and we'll talk about the tour pack. This should give you a better idea of what I was talking about looking at it upside down. The metal piece here, this is the RickRak mount. It's already mounted, obviously, on the bag itself. There's 2 parts of the rack mount that we want to look at. Front piece, these are the 2 feet that slide over the front tube of the luggage rack, and then the clamps on the back. These are these attached to the rear tube on the luggage rack. Now, a couple of weird things. And this is that foot cover I was telling you about on the clamp. These things keep falling off. I still have all 4. But they generally fall off when I stop somewhere and I have to go hunt them on the ground. Then we have the rubber piece here. This rubber piece actually sets over that bolt, and then the tube on the luggage rack sets on top, if you can get it on top. Sometimes you put it behind, sometimes you put it in the front. I'm missing one here. This one's somewhere in New Jersey because, shit falls off. And then you've got the hole here for the lock. So the way this attaches, here's the Harley-Davidson 2-up King luggage rack. The front piece here, these 2 feet go over the front tube, and then the rear tube on the rack, the clamps go over that rear tube. So once you get that on, then you tighten these clamps down like that, Get them good and tight. That'll keep the rack from moving, or the bag from moving up and back and forth on the rack. And then the last thing you want to do, and I highly recommend if you get a RickRak system, get the lock. Although I might use one with a shorter hasp, and I'll show you why in a second. So this goes on around the tube, through the hole, and you clamp that down. That way, if someone tries to take your bag, they can't get it off the rack. But also, if these become loose, theoretically, this should keep the rack on the bag on the rack. Let's take a look at that, because that's what happened to me. The front of the bag came off the rack. Now there's no way to tighten, or there's no way to lock these two clamps. So both trips that I took the RickRak on, every time I'd stop to get gas, I would check to see if these clamps were still tight. More often than not, they were a little loose and I had to tighten them up. So here's what I think happened when I had the bag come off the rack, the front part of the rack coming through St. Louis. First off, as these loosen, I'm not going to loosen these all the way, just like 3/4 of the way. This allows the bag to start moving on the rack. Now, if you think about it, all the force at play while you're riding with the bag is coming from the front of the motorcycle to the back of the bag, or to the front of the bag, pushing the bag backwards on the rack. So as these loosen, it can go further and further back. I want to move the mount forward to simulate that. Now you can see this lock, I still have some play in these clamps, but this lock is holding the bag from going all the way off the back of the rack. The problem is, if you hit a bump, like I did coming through St. Louis on that bad part of the interstate, it doesn't take much to force these little rubber feet up over that rack. And there you go. Now you got a problem. Fortunately for me, I had the lock to keep the back from coming off. I also had straps that I was using to keep the bag on the bike, which defeats the purpose of the whole system to begin with. If you're going to use straps, just use straps. But anyway, that's the problem. That is the problem.
So yeah, so there you go. So you know, I've at this point, and I haven't talked to the guys at RickRak yet. I still want to talk to them about it. But before I reached out to them a couple of weeks ago, I thought long and hard, and I know myself, and I know that at this point, no matter what they do, I will never have confidence in the RickRak system. And that's not good, because what I don't want to do is go off on a trip for a week or two and have to constantly be looking in my rear view mirror to see if the bag's still there, or every time I get off to get fuel, to go through, make sure it's all tightened up, make sure it's not slipping back and I'm not having another failure. So RickRak is out. If you live in the Northern Virginia area and you're interested in buying a twice only used RickRak system, bag and the mount, let me know. I'll make you a good deal on it, but I'm not going to use it anymore. So I'm back to trying to figure out what do I want to do as far as storage and packing, you know, when I'm on trips. So the trips are one thing. The other thing that I've kind of noticed is I've been riding around on day trips with my friends here locally, and a lot of them have tour packs on their bikes, and god damn, they're just convenient, you know. And there's sometimes when I'm riding to the office and I need to go to the grocery store, so I stop at the office first, ditch all my stuff in the office, get back on the bike with the bags empty, go to the grocery store and pick up what I need for the office. That's a bit of a pain in the ass too. So convenience is another factor here. So I think I've decided to quit jacking around. I don't like the idea of having a tour pack on the bike all the time, but there are certainly times when it's both convenient and is a great solution on touring. So now that I made that decision, it comes down to, if I'm going to get a tour pack, which tour pack am I going to get? What size am I going to get? Absolutely 100%. The King tour pack's out. I don't like that. That's a big fucking ugly looking thing. I just, you know, nothing personal to you guys that have it and love it. Hey man, right on. Right on. That's your thing. That's your style. Nothing wrong with it for me. I just don't like it. I don't ride two up. The last thing I want is a box on the back of my bike with like half a friggin' lazy boy chair on it. You know, don't want to go there. I know that the King Tour Pack has a lot of advantages. One, you can store a helmet, a full face helmet in it. That's not so much of a big deal for me. I can lock my lid with my lid locks or carry my helmet with me. But you know, again, having secured storage, either just when I'm out and about or especially when I'm on tours, that's a thing, right? And then having enough storage to hold some clothes, camera gear, and then maybe put a small dry spec bag on top or put it on the seat. I think that's all I need, to be honest with you. So now it's between the chopped or the razor. And everybody keeps saying, and I agree, the razor looks the best on the road glide, hands down. I totally agree. I think it goes with the lines of the bike really well. It's not in your face. But my buddy KidMoto22 has a razor and a King, and when he got the razor, I know he was really happy with it. I saw it on the first trip he took with it when he came out to Kentucky for the 5 Dirty Bikers meetup. You know, he was showing it to me and how it fit his camera gear and stuff, and that looked great. But at the same time, I'm thinking, man, that's just not a lot. That's not a lot of storage. This guy's gonna try to, don't clip me, dude. Don't clip me. Oh, he's already clipped somebody. Shouldn't be driving around with your bumper all dented up like that. Makes people think you don't know how to drive. Anyway, yeah, with the razor, I don't know. I think it might be a little too small. So I'm back to the chopped. I think that's probably what I'm going to go with. And then it becomes a question of which chopped tour pack do I want to get? Obviously, there are choices. On YouTube, everybody and their brothers got Advan Black. Either Advan Black sent them a free tour pack for them to review and try out. That's awesome. I don't get stuff like that on this channel. I don't. I'm not big enough. I'm not even big enough to get return emails from a lot of people that I've reached out to. You know, hey, they're lost. They're lost because you're not getting information on their products that you might want. So Advan Black, Hogworks obviously is an option. They both do color matching, although nobody's going to color match my bike. And then the third option is going with the Harley-Davidson Chop Tour Pack. And I think the advantages over the Harley has over the other, I believe, is quality. And I won't say so much quality over like the box itself, the tour pack itself, but the hardware. You know, I've played around with hardware, opening some of these third-party tour packs, and yeah, they're not smooth, man. They're not smooth. The Harley hardware is just super cool and super tight and very, very fluid when you operate it. So I don't know. That's kind of where I am. I'm trying to figure out which way to go. What do you guys think? Let me. Those of you guys with touring platforms, especially road glides, let me know what you think down in the description. I ran a poll. I didn't get a lot of responses, but people seem to be saying chopped is the way to go. Let me know what you think, though. If you've gone through this decision-making process and you've ended up getting a tour pack, let me know what drove your decision. Did you go with Advan Black to save a couple of bucks? Did you go with Harley for the quality? Did you go with chop? Did you decide to pull the trigger with the razor? If you got the razor, do you have regrets over that? Man, they got a lot of bikes up here at Quantico Harley-Davidson. These are all the used bikes, and quite a few. A lot of Softails too, huh? Check it out. Oh, that looks like the old Sophie. Anyhow, let me know what you think in the description below. I'm going to go get my bike inspected so that Officer Obi doesn't pull me over. Not that I think anyone would even look at the inspection sticker on a bike, but you never know. Hey, that dude went to Chick-fil-A. Did you get me some Chick-fil-A, bro? Yeah, it's a nice looking bike, but that Chick-fil-A looks pretty good. Hey, I wasn't being rude or anything there. The GoPro storage card just filled up and went cut out. Anyway, got the inspection done on the bike. I had that recall on the brakes, the brake light or whatever. So I had that updated real quick. Guys here at Quantico, the service department took care of me, so I'm back on the bike and heading home. You guys have a good one. Let me know what you think about all this stuff. Peace.